Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin, see where we're at. Not too much has changed from yesterday. We did see that pull back to that low $101,000 mark. That wasn't really super significant, but it was kind of an indication that we are trying to come lower. So I think it's probably best to be prepared. We could come down to the $97,000 to $100,000 range, but also be mindful that if we are to kind of maintain this range for a bit longer, like we saw before, there's a decent chance that the price action will continue higher. So, it's a tough place right now. I know a lot of folks are scrambling and trying to figure out what's going to happen next, but, it's probably best to expect the worst, hope for the best, and to not get caught with your hand in the cookie jar by trying to take too many trades right now. So that's my general recommendation. Just kind of keep it loose. We took some nice profits on our Bitcoin short, 28% profit from 103.7 to 100.8, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, XRP long and then SUI long too. So you can catch profits in both directions, but it is something you want to be careful of doing. But altcoins showed a lot of strength over the weekend, so we had to take some longs there. But at this point, is it worth taking a long for altcoins? I would say probably not, honestly. It just seems like we're right on the edge of potential pullback, and I'll be looking at some other alts here soon, but the simple way to understand it is, no trade is the best trade in these kind of conditions. It's oftentimes the best way to go. So 106 to 108 is that upper liquidation range. And we got 100.5 down to as low as about 98.5. So we do still have some liquidation left to the downside, but as we can kind of see, we're in this range of 101,000 to roughly 105. So it's kind of just where we're at. We're in the middle of that. Not much else to really note on the macro. We are starting to see, wow, this is big significance here. Look at this. Yesterday, we were at like 20 to 25 billion liquidation long delta. Now we are effectively break even. This does imply shift in momentum could be occurring here because we have a lot less longs in the market. They either got wiped out with that pullback to that 101K range, or they close their longs in profit, which is what you should be doing, and essentially waiting for a better position. So at this point, when liquidation delta draws dead or kind of breaks even, it's usually an implication that we're going to take off in either direction soon. So it's kind of like a Bollinger Band. Have you seen those before? I used to use those a lot. They kind of compress the price action, and once it hits a certain point, it just takes off. So we might still be a few days out from that, but I do think that we're on the horizon of either going up or down. Wow, big surprise. This guy says we're either going up or down. Sorry, that's kind of a joke more so, but there is truth in that. The market does go either direction, and sometimes you just don't know. At this point, 95,000 is that heaviest amount of open interest, so just note we do come down as low as 95K. I think 95 to 97K will be a solid entry consideration. We do have a point of control here based on large time frame volume and our 0.618 fib level right there at 97,000, right in that range of basically 96 to 97K. So that's a solid support area if we were to pull back to that level. Just something to be aware of. Last but not least here in the daily time frame, just kind of quickly note, we're back to 70 on the RSI. That's generally a good indication to consider securing profits on a long. Generally speaking, this short-term trend has slowed down, right? So at this point, it's probably best to expect the price to go down before it goes up. That's just kind of the best anticipation, especially with stochastic and MACD starting to diverge, kind of just letting us know we're losing momentum. And there is, once again, a fair value gap as low as 97.5. So those things exist there. Other than that, the 4-hour time frame, see if we can find any kind of divergences. Honestly, we're at this point where we're under the 20-day SMA, but still over the 50. Staying over the 50 is probably the most impactful or important thing. So if we can continue to maintain that, we'll be in pretty good shape. Granted, we saw previously where the price went below the 50-day SMA and then just cranked up afterwards. So it can definitely be a false positive, but simple way to understand it is that, we're still on the right side of tracks for the most part here, but we're starting to see that slowing pressure. We are also seeing RSI tapering off here with the simple moving average essentially above the price action. That's usually unfavorable, kind of implying that further downside is more likely, just based on the overall sentiment here. So I do think that we're in a position where the price could continue lower, and that it would seem practical to expect that. But I don't think it's going to be maybe a monumental run. I think we might see another couple waves, just kind of like looking like this here. And then perhaps consolidating 97 and taking off from there. That's actually, it's more like a hope versus a realism here, because we all know that market makers are not going to take it to where we want it to go, and we just get to take a nice set of longs there and take it from there. But all shenanigans aside, that's essentially what I'm leaning more towards. The local high here being retested as a new low. So I'd love to see that. So at this point, what do you do? Well, do you close all your positions? Do you exit out everything? I would say just be careful with how many positions you have. If you're in profit, adjust your stop losses higher so you're in. You remain in profit if the price were to continue lower. But it just doesn't seem like an ideal situation to trade altcoins right now, because even though Bitcoin dominance is pulling back, and that's generally favorable, when you see Bitcoin, dominance pulling back and price of Bitcoin going down, altcoins should be stabilizing, which they kind of are. They're kind of break even or plus or minus 2%. So we are still kind of in a good situation. This isn't bad. It's just not optimal situation for any type of long trades. So that's kind of where we're at. Cool. I hope that makes sense and I described that correctly. We got 1 day left here on Bitunix. Make sure you join us over here. Link down below for that deposit reward bonus. And obviously join us over on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. A lot of folks are coming over here. It's been a lot of fun. And I've been really enjoying making those short videos too. So thanks so much for the awesome feedback and always liking the content. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have yourself a great rest of your day. Take care.